Kia ora everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Keith, I'm 52 years old, I'm a 1-year carnivore, and I live in a beautiful country called New Zealand. Firstly, let me start by saying a big thank you to my new subscribers. I truly appreciate that you would want to actually hear my carnivore journey so far. It's why I decided to title this video, My Journey to Carnivore. For me to give you a better idea of what it was like back in the days, I will have to take you back to the Christmas and New Year's holidays of 2021. So, like most families, we gathered to celebrate and to catch up with each other. But what I used to like the most about these holidays was the abundance of food, the desserts, and the alcohol. All these things I would consume with excitement, happiness, and of course, a lack of control. When I ate these foods and drank the alcohol, it felt like all my worries would magically disappear, if only for a very short time. The kicker and the truth about it all was, I was just masking my own inabilities to function properly in my life, both mentally and physically. When I used to get asked, "How are you doing?" my default answer was always, "Well, I'm still alive." That in itself was a telling sign of my mental health state at the time. Of course, we would just all laugh it off and go back to eating or drinking as per usual. I knew at the time what the aftermath would be when I would celebrate the holidays in this way. But I thought, what the heck? I'll worry about the consequences after. And boy, did I end up paying for that. The after effects would include a self-loathing, deep depression, and hiding away from the world. Days and nights would merge into one. Sometimes I had no idea what time or day it was, and I didn't even care about it. This behavior would carry on through the months of January and February 2022. Then, in March, I remember trying to get out of my bed one morning. It took me ages just to sit up from my sleeping position. I had literally spent what energy I had just to sit up out of my bed. I sat there for a while because I was heavy breathing and exhausted from the massive effort just to sit up. When I was finally able to move again, I made my way to my kitchen. It was like I was on autopilot. But first I had to sit down to catch my breath again. I knew things were bad. They were really bad. But I had to have my favourite sugar and carb-loaded foods. While resting on my kitchen chair, I spotted my digital scales. I thought to myself, wow, I'd hate to see what those would say now. But for some unknown reason, I still wanted to get on them. It still baffles me to this day, but I eventually plucked up the courage to turn them on, and I can tell you right now, I was in for a rough ride. I hopped on the scales for a few seconds, and then off again. I saw an ERR message. My first thought was, oh, they must need new batteries. So I grabbed some new batteries, hopped on again, and still it read ERR. Then it dawned on me. I had maxed out the weight capacity of my scales, which were 180 kgs or 395 pounds. This sent me into a spiral of depression and hatred of myself for what I had become. Thankfully, though, when I mentioned it to one of my friends that I would talk to at least once a week, she happened to mention, even though she was shocked, she was being very supportive and told me, had I heard about keto? I had heard of it and I had even tried it, but of course I fell off that wagon too. She sent me a link to a YouTube video, a guy called Dr. Eric Berg, so I started listening, not really knowing if it was going to be helpful at all. But as I continued watching his videos, I sort of started to understand what he was saying about keto. I decided to set myself up to take the keto diet on again. You see, I realized I had reached my proverbial fork in the road. I was either going to continue on my current path and become a huge burden on my family, which I already was, or I was going to put in some decent effort and give keto another go. So, in May of 2022, I started the keto diet. Things started happening quickly because I had changed my way of eating. Eventually, the scales were able to read my weight again. I was losing excess fluid and inflammation in my body, and I was learning to cook keto-friendly foods and desserts. Everything was humming along nicely until about the third or fourth month. I started getting massive joint pains in my feet, ankles and knuckles of my hand. I was dumbfounded. Here I am eating so much more healthier, and now I needed crutches to get around. Back then, my go-to answer was to ring my doctor, explain what was happening for me, and see if I could get some medications for my pain, which I did. The meds worked most of the time to relieve that pain, but the issues would come back with a vengeance. There were times I couldn't even sleep at night, or I could only go from my bedroom to my bathroom and back again. I was doing everything right on the keto diet, but I started to have this major health issue. So I went back to the YouTube University and found Sally K. Norton talking about oxalate dumping and the effects it can have on people who ate plants with high oxalates in them. The symptoms matched what I was going through at the time. I really didn't know what to do. I ended up joining one of her group sessions on a Zoom call and actually shared what had happened to me, at which point she confirmed my suspicion that oxalate dumping was happening for me. I did carry on with keto though, because with all the issues I was having, I was still losing weight and inches, and by using the medications, I could function about 60 to 70% of the time. Before I knew it, the Christmas and New Year's celebrations of 2022 were just around the corner. But this time, I was so much more better off health-wise than I was in 2021. I really thought to myself, I've got this. How those words would come back and bite me in the butt again. During the Christmas and New Year's holidays, I thought to myself, I had done so well since the month of May. I can loosen the reins just for the holidays, and so I did. Well, that was a big mistake because my old habits started creeping back in, slowly but surely at first, but then I could feel the floodgates opening again. You see, even though I had made some health choices and changes that were good for me, there were still two things that were constant in my life. Yep, you guessed it, sugars and carbs. Even though they came in different forms on the keto diet, they were still a constant in my life. I believe I have an addictive personality, and if I can't find a way to heal that side of me, then those behaviors will eventually come back even stronger. While watching Dr. Eric Berg videos, I started getting recommended videos of a Dr. Ken Berry. When I finally decided to watch one of his videos, I was shocked. Here was this doctor saying, just eat beef, butter, bacon and eggs. It will help heal many different health issues. And I was like, no way. No way could this be right. But yep, I used to believe the many narratives of you need this and you need that to live a balanced, healthier life. Look, maybe for some that can be true, but for me everything was out of order, and I had tried all sorts of diets. I'd even done an extreme sports event thinking I could exercise my weight away. Sure, I lost some weight while exercising, but it would soon come back, bringing some extra friends with it. I also wished I had the money to get bariatric surgery, or at the least a lap band surgery. It was the only way I believed I could lose weight and be healthier. So after listening to a few more videos from Dr. Ken Berry, I decided, what the heck? How would I know if what he was saying had some truth to it unless I tried it for myself? So, on the 29th of March 2023, I started my carnivore journey, and you would think that was the end, but really it was just the beginning. Well, everyone, I hope I haven't taken up too much of your time. This is a part of my story, and I wanted you to know how I became a carnivore. Until I see you again, stay safe, stay blessed, and stay carnivore. Aroha nui whānau.